In the cold darkness of space, a small alien salvage ship drifted near a massive shadow. The crew of the Vorenak expedition had never seen anything like it. The object was huge, miles long, black metal broken and scarred as if it had survived 1,000 battles. No signal came from it, no lights, no movement, only silence. Their scanners showed human markings. The name on its side was still clear, even after centuries: USS Nemesis. The captain of the Vorenak ship, Commander Reltor, stared at the hologram with his 4 narrow eyes. "Human," he whispered. The word itself made the crew uneasy. Humans were ancient myths now, creatures of chaos and war. Their kind had vanished hundreds of years ago, burned out by their own weapons. But seeing a human warship here, still intact, made every alien heart tremble. They decided to board. The salvage shuttle attached to the ship's cold hull. As they entered, the air was thin and heavy, smelling of rust and death. Lights on their helmets cut through the darkness, revealing long halls filled with dust and floating metal parts. Weapons, armor, and strange devices lay scattered everywhere. The crew moved carefully, their boots echoing in the silence. "No power," said one of them. "This ship has been dead for a long time." Commander Reltor nodded. "Search for the core. Human tech is valuable." They split into 2 teams. The corridors were narrow, with walls covered in strange markings, old human language mixed with warning signs. Some were written in something darker, almost like dried blood. One of the aliens, Jorah, touched a panel on the wall. It felt warm. "Strange," he said softly. Suddenly, the air seemed to hum. Not loud, just a faint vibration. He stepped back, uneasy. In the control chamber, Reltor found something unusual. A metal door, sealed tight with human handprints burned into it. "They tried to lock something inside," he murmured. His technician worked to open it, connecting wires and pressing buttons. The door finally groaned open with a heavy hiss. Inside was a large hall filled with glass pods, empty, all broken, except one. It was intact, covered in frost. Inside that last pod lay the shape of a human body, pale and still. The aliens froze. They had never seen a human before, only heard stories. The legends said humans were small compared to most species, but their minds were violent, creative, and full of fire. One alien whispered, "Is it dead?" Reltor scanned the body. No life signs. Centuries old. They all relaxed a little. Then Jorah, still exploring nearby, cut his hand on a broken piece of metal. Blue alien blood dripped to the floor. Nothing happened. He laughed nervously. "See. No curse." But when he stepped forward, his boot touched a puddle of something dark red, still wet. He knelt down, shocked. "Captain, this is blood. Human blood." The crew stared in disbelief. After so long, no organic matter should still exist, yet this blood looked fresh, almost alive. As they examined it, a single drop fell from Jorah's glove onto the metal floor. The entire ship suddenly trembled. The lights flickered once. Then again. The deck plates vibrated beneath their feet. "What was that?" shouted one alien. The old screens around them began to glow faintly, showing lines of human code. Then, a voice, cold, mechanical, but human, echoed through the hall. "Human DNA detected. Protocol awakening." The aliens stepped back in fear. The lights turned red. Deep within the ship, engines that had been silent for centuries began to hum with power. The corridors lit up one by one, spreading like fire through the dark. The ship was coming alive. "Shut it down," Reltor ordered. "Now." His technicians tried to disconnect their equipment, but it was too late. The ship's AI spoke again, louder this time. "Welcome back, human commander." The pod in the middle of the room started to glow. Frost melted from the glass. The body inside twitched. "It's impossible," Jorah screamed. The others stumbled back as the glass cracked and steam filled the air. The human's eyes opened, cold, gray, and full of light. For a moment, he didn't move. Then, slowly, he breathed. The ship responded instantly. Metal panels shifted, energy surged, and a low heartbeat-like thump filled the corridors. Reltor shouted, "Retreat! Everyone back to the shuttle!" But the doors slammed shut before they could move. The AI whispered through the speakers, almost like it was enjoying their fear. "Intruders detected. Security protocol online." Red beams scanned across the room. The aliens raised their weapons, but their energy shots vanished into invisible shields. The human sat up inside the pod, skin glowing faintly with red light. The AI's voice softened. "Commander, your enemies have arrived." The aliens looked around, trapped, their minds racing. What had they awakened? The human turned his head slightly, staring at them through the glass, emotionless. The ship's power surged again. The stars outside shimmered as the massive engines came alive. The USS Nemesis had slept for 3 centuries, waiting for the touch of human blood. And now, it was awake. The alien crew stood frozen as the AI spoke its final words in that cold metallic tone. "The war is not over." The ship's lights turned white. The screen went black. Silence returned, but now it was different. It wasn't the silence of death anymore. It was the silence before something terrible began. The air inside the great warship burned with static energy as the lights stabilized. The alien crew stood frozen, their bodies tense, their minds unable to understand what they had just witnessed. The human in the pod was alive. Steam curled around him as the glass shattered and fell away in slow motion. The man's chest rose and fell, each breath deep and deliberate, like a machine restarting after a long sleep. His skin looked pale but strong, his hair dark, his eyes glowing faintly with silver light. Commander Reltor could feel his heart pounding. "Do not move," he ordered, but his voice trembled. The human opened his eyes fully now, looking straight at the aliens. It was not just a stare, it was as if his gaze went through them, measuring, analyzing, remembering. Then, from all around them, the ship spoke again in that cold, calm human voice. "Neural link active. Commander Rain online." The name echoed through the chamber. The alien technicians panicked. "Captain, it's connecting with him." "The ship, it's sinking." Reltor barked orders. "Shut down the interface. Disconnect power flow." But their tools failed, melting in their hands as the panels around them began to glow. The human, Commander Rain, lifted his hand slowly and touched the air. Holographic screens appeared around him, full of data streams, ship schematics, and tactical maps. He didn't speak yet, but the expression on his face changed, from confusion to understanding. He remembered. The ship's systems roared to life. Turrets retracted from the walls, engines pulsed, and deep within the ship's core, a low vibration filled every hallway. The aliens felt the floor shake beneath them. "It's alive," whispered Jorah, stepping back in fear. "This ship is alive." Reltor turned to the exit, but the doors sealed tight, thick metal plates sliding into place. "We are locked in," one of the crew cried. The ship's voice returned, non-human lifeforms detected. "Access denied. Defense mode activated." From the walls, red scanners swept across the aliens. One by one, the lights flashed red over their heads. Threat classification, hostile. Panic filled the room. The aliens fired their plasma rifles at the walls, but the energy absorbed harmlessly into the metal. Sparks flew, but the ship did not even flinch. Reltor shouted, "Wait! We mean no harm." For the first time, the human spoke. His voice was low, tired, but powerful. "Who are you?" The aliens froze. His words were clear, his tone commanding. Reltor hesitated, then stepped forward carefully. "We are explorers," he said. "We found your ship. We thought it was abandoned." The human's eyes narrowed. "How long?" 300 years, Reltor answered quickly. "You've been gone for centuries." The human's jaw tightened. He looked around, absorbing the truth. 300 years, he repeated softly. The AI interrupted. Commander Rain, the enemy presence is confirmed. Orders. The human didn't respond right away. He stood still, looking at his own hands as if testing whether he was real. Then he whispered, "No. Not enemies. Not yet." The ship paused, its hum softening slightly. Reltor took the chance. "We can help you. We can get you to safety." The human tilted his head. "Safety?" he said quietly, almost as if the word was strange to him. "Do you even know what this ship is?" The aliens exchanged nervous looks. Jorah stammered, "A human battleship. A war relic." The human smiled faintly, a cold, humorless smile. "This ship ended worlds." He took a step forward, his body steady, his movements too controlled, almost mechanical. "You shouldn't have woken it." Suddenly, alarms flared again. The ship's AI spoke sharply, external signals detected. Unauthorized transmissions. Targeting. Screens showed alien distress signals leaving the ship, broadcasting their coordinates to nearby systems. "You called for help," Rain said without emotion. "Now, they will come." Reltor shouted. "We had no choice." The human looked toward the ceiling. "Neither did I." He placed his hand on a nearby console. A cable of red light extended from the wall and connected to his arm like a living thread. His body jerked slightly as the ship linked fully to his nervous system. "Neural synchronization complete," the AI announced. "Command protocols online." The floor vibrated harder. Energy readings spiked. The ship was fully awake now. The aliens backed away as glowing lines of energy ran along the walls like veins. Rain's voice deepened, now layered with mechanical tones. "System status?" The AI responded instantly. "Weapons. Operational. Shields. Operational. Engines. Charging. Crew. 1. Rain nodded slowly. "Good." He turned his gaze back to the terrified aliens. "You wanted treasure," he said. "You found a ghost." Jorah fell to his knees. "Please. Let us go." For a moment, Rain just stared at him. His expression was unreadable. Then he turned away, walking toward the main control deck. The ship followed his command as if it could sense his thoughts. "Lockdown ends when I say so," he said quietly. The AI replied, "Acknowledged, Commander." The aliens looked around, trapped and hopeless. "What is he planning?" one whispered. Rain stood before a massive window showing the dark field of stars outside. His reflection stared back. "Part man, part machine." He whispered to himself, "If humanity is gone, then I am all that's left." The AI spoke again, almost gently this time. "You were the last. You died defending them." Rain's eyes closed. For a brief moment, there was silence again, heavy and deep. Then, his expression hardened. "Then we'll make them remember," he said. The ship began to turn, engines glowing brighter. Outside, the dead warship shifted direction, heading toward unknown space. The aliens could only watch, trapped in the belly of a legend that should have stayed buried. The voice of the AI echoed one final time through the corridors. "Course set, Commander. Resurrection protocol complete." And as the stars stretched into long trails of light, the human and his living ship left behind the grave of silence, awakening something far more dangerous than death itself. The hum of the ship deepened as it glided through the endless dark of space. Every corridor now pulsed with a red glow, alive and breathing, like the veins of some massive creature. The aliens sat in silence, trapped within the metal belly of the human warship. None of them spoke, afraid that even the smallest sound might anger the machine that surrounded them. Commander Rain stood at the center of the control deck, motionless, his eyes staring into the holographic stars before him. The ship's voice whispered softly around him, "All systems stable. Energy core at 100%. Neural link complete." The human nodded slowly, his face expressionless. He was no longer just a man. The ship's circuits and his blood had become one. His veins faintly glowed with the same red light that ran through the ship's walls. The aliens watched from behind the sealed glass door, their fear growing with every passing minute. Commander Reltor tried again to reason with him. Human. Commander Rain, please. We didn't mean to disturb you. We were only scavengers. We didn't know what this place was. Rain didn't turn. You didn't know, he repeated quietly. No one ever knows, until it's too late. His voice carried a strange mix of calm and sorrow. He raised his hand and, without touching anything, opened several holographic files. The AI displayed battle records, war footage, and final transmissions from 300 years ago. Explosions, screams, and the faces of dying humans filled the air. The aliens flinched as the holograms showed entire planets burning, fleets destroyed, and human soldiers fighting to the last breath. The last human war, Rain said softly. We fought everyone. We fought to survive. And when it was over, they erased us from history. He looked at them now, his eyes burning brighter. You are the children of those who watched us die. Reltor shook his head quickly. That was long before our time. We didn't take part in that war. Rain stared through him. Maybe not. But your kind still walks free while mine lies buried in ashes. The ship's AI interrupted. Commander, long-range sensors detect transmissions. The VORNAK fleet is searching for their missing crew. Rain gave a small smile. They came for you. How noble. He turned toward the aliens. Tell me, if I release you, will you warn them? Jorah swallowed hard. Yes. We'll tell them to stay away. We'll tell them this ship is cursed. The human nodded slightly. Good. Because they should fear it. He walked closer to the glass barrier, and the aliens stepped back instinctively. His presence was heavy, as if gravity itself bent around him. Do you know what this ship is called? He asked. Reltor hesitated. The Nemesis. Rain nodded again. Built to end wars. Powered by human blood and mind. I was its last commander. When the enemy closed in, we activated Omega Protocol, sacrifice for victory. His voice grew lower. I died here. Or at least, part of me did. He looked down at his hands. And now, I wake to find my kind extinct. The room fell silent. Even the AI's humming seemed to fade. The aliens could feel the weight of his loneliness, but it was buried under something stronger, rage. The ship began to tremble slightly, like a heartbeat growing faster. The AI spoke again. Commander, shall we engage the intruders when they arrive? Rain did not answer immediately. He closed his eyes for a moment, as if listening to something only he could hear. Then he said quietly, prepare the defenses, but hold fire. I want to see who still remembers the name of humanity. The aliens exchanged terrified glances. You're going to fight them? Jorah asked, his voice shaking. Rain looked at him. Fight? No. I'm going to remind them. He turned away again, and the ship responded to his thoughts. Panels shifted, weapons aligned, and the engine core glowed brighter. Outside, the massive warship began to change form. Hidden armor plates slid into place, ancient cannons extended from the hull, and a deep vibration echoed through space like the growl of a waking beast. Inside, the AI whispered, weapons online. Shields at full power. Awaiting command. The aliens could hardly breathe. They were standing inside a god of war. Rain looked down at the control screen, seeing his reflection mixed with the stars. I remember the faces of my crew, he said softly. They swore to protect humanity until the end. I guess that oath now belongs to me alone. He turned toward the sealed door and raised his hand. The metal hissed and unlocked. The aliens flinched as the door opened, expecting death, but instead, Rain said, go. Reltor blinked in disbelief. What? Take your shuttle and leave, Rain said firmly. Tell your people what you saw here. Tell them the last human is awake. The aliens didn't wait to argue. They ran through the corridor, the sound of their boots echoing against the metal walls. The ship opened a path for them, guiding them back to their small craft. As they entered the airlock, Tor turned back one last time. Through the closing door, he saw Rain standing alone on the command deck, surrounded by the hum of ancient power. For a moment, he felt pity. Then the door sealed shut. Their shuttle detached and drifted away. From the distance, the aliens watched as the Nemesis powered up completely. Massive energy fields rippled across its surface. It looked less like a ship and more like a living creature made of light and steel. Jorah whispered, "He's not human anymore." Tor nodded grimly. "No. He's something worse." Back inside, Rain stood silent, eyes glowing brighter than before. "They will come," he said quietly. The AI answered, "And they will fear." Outside, the stars reflected on the armor of the awakened warship, and the universe trembled as the last human prepared to rise from extinction. The Nemesis drifted silently through the black sea of space, its engines glowing like the eyes of a sleeping god. Inside, Commander Rain stood before the main viewport, watching stars crawl past as fragments of memory flickered through his mind. The AI projected old battle recordings, each one a ghost from the war that ended humanity. The images were faint, glitching, as if time itself tried to erase them. He saw his crew, their faces young, determined, afraid. He saw Earth burning beneath a rain of plasma fire, cities falling, oceans boiling, and voices screaming through static. "All forces retreat," his own voice echoed from the past. "Project Nemesis is compromised." He clenched his fists, his jaw tightening as he relived the end. The AI's voice was calm, almost sorrowful. "You fought until the last moment, Commander. They overwhelmed us with numbers, not courage." Rain closed his eyes. "They feared us. So they united to destroy us." The AI responded, "Yes." 17 alien species joined the Great Coalition. Together, they burned the human worlds. Rain opened his eyes slowly. "And now, they rule what we built." He turned, his gaze sharp as steel. "Not anymore." Deep in the ship's core, lights brightened as systems obeyed his unspoken command. The Nemesis began gathering power, scanning distant sectors for signals of life. "Commander," said the AI, "a Vorenak fleet is approaching. They are the same species as the intruders who woke us." Rain almost smiled. "Then fate sends me my first reminder." The AI's tone shifted to alert mode. Fleet size, 12 warships. Armaments, plasma lances and ion torpedoes. Inferior technology. Estimated victory probability, 100%. Rain turned to the console. "Open communication." The AI hesitated. "To what frequency, Commander?" "All of them," he said. "Let them hear the voice of extinction." Across the void, the Vorenak ships received a transmission. A deep voice filled their comms, ancient and human. "This is Commander Rain of the Nemesis. You stand in human territory." Confusion filled the alien bridge. "Human?" their captain muttered. "Impossible." The voice continued, calm but powerful. "You erased my people. You burned our world. But we built this ship to outlive death itself." The Vorenak captain shouted, "Identify yourself." Rain's voice deepened, echoing with the ship's energy. "I am the last human. And I remember." The transmission cut off, and the Nemesis moved. It didn't fly like a ship, it glided like a predator through the dark. Energy fields shimmered around it, as if space itself bent in its path. The Vorenak fleet opened fire, filling the void with blue plasma bolts. The Nemesis didn't even dodge. The shots hit its shields and vanished like sparks in the wind. The ship's AI spoke, "Enemy fire ineffective." "Counterattack." "Yes," Rain said quietly. The Nemesis unleashed its fury. From its sides, red beams sliced through the blackness, cutting ships apart with surgical precision. Within seconds, half the fleet was gone. The survivors screamed through their comms. It's alive. The human ghost ship is real. The Voronezh tried to flee, but Rain whispered, "No survivors." The AI obeyed. The last ship exploded, its debris drifting silently into the stars. When the battle ended, the void was filled with ashes. Rain stood motionless, eyes fixed on the wreckage. The AI broke the silence. All hostile units destroyed. Not hostile, Rain said softly. Reminders. The AI paused. You show no mercy, Commander. Rain looked down. Mercy was the first thing they took from us. He walked toward the center of the control deck, where the AI's holographic core pulsed like a living heart. Archive the battle. Let the galaxy hear it. The AI obeyed, transmitting fragments of the fight to nearby systems. Within hours, rumors would spread across dozens of worlds. The dead humans had returned. Rain sat down on the captain's chair, his fingers resting on the armrest. Show me what's left of human space. The hologram expanded, showing hundreds of systems once ruled by humanity. Now, they were renamed, colonized, repurposed by alien races. Monuments erased, languages lost, planets stripped bare. The AI displayed Earth last, silent, cold, and empty. Rain stared at it for a long moment. They even took our home. Earth is abandoned, said the AI. No signals. No life detected. Rain leaned forward. Then we'll bring life back. His voice grew stronger. Set course for Earth. We start there. The ship responded instantly. Coordinates locked. Estimated arrival, 52 hours. As the Nemesis turned, space bent around it, engines flaring red like the beating of a giant heart. Rain stood and looked out again at the endless stars. His reflection in the glass seemed older, harder, less human. The AI spoke softly. Do you intend to rebuild humanity, Commander? Rain didn't answer right away. Not rebuild, he said at last. Reclaim. The ship fell into hyperspace, leaving behind the shattered remains of the Voronezh fleet. In the darkness, whispers began to spread between worlds, of a ghost ship, a human voice, and a storm coming from the past. The galaxy had forgotten the fury of mankind. But now, the universe would remember. The Nemesis cut through hyperspace like a blade of fire, its massive frame glowing with crimson light. Every system aboard was alive, every weapon humming with power. Commander Rain stood motionless at the helm, his face half lit by the soft red glow of the control panels. The AI's voice filled the silence, calm but laced with warning. Commander, transmissions spreading across sectors. Reports of your return are reaching the Council worlds. Multiple fleets are mobilizing. Rain's eyes narrowed. Good. Let them come. He wasn't angry. He was calm, too calm, like a storm waiting to be unleashed. Behind his calmness, though, was a deep ache, a hollow pain that had been growing since his awakening. He remembered his people's screams, the burning of cities, and the betrayal that ended humanity. The galaxy had called humans monsters, but it was the aliens who became the executioners. They fear what they don't understand, Rain whispered. The AI replied softly. They feared your strength, Commander. They feared humanity's ability to adapt, to win. Rain stared into the endless void ahead. They were right to fear us. The ship emerged from hyperspace near a lifeless moon orbiting a red giant star. Around the moon floated the ruins of old human satellites and war debris, silent witnesses to a time long past. The Nemesis slowed, its engines humming softly. We're close to Earth's sector, Rain said quietly. Any signals? Negative, answered the AI. Only faint echoes from the past. Automated beacons repeating distress calls centuries old. Rain closed his eyes. Play them. The bridge filled with broken transmissions, human voices distorted by time and distance. This is Earth Command, enemy fleets approaching, this is the end, then static. Rain said nothing for a long time. When he spoke again, His voice was cold and steady. The galaxy took everything from us. Now, it will learn what it means to lose. The AI's sensors flared to life. Commander, multiple ships approaching. VOR-NAK fleet reinforced by council vessels. 40 warships. They've found us. Rain didn't move. Prepare for contact. The ships appeared on the screen, a vast armada of alien design, glowing blue and gold against the darkness. The Nemesis stood alone, one ancient human relic against the gathered powers of the galaxy. On the alien flagship, a transmission crackled to life. The face of a tall, scaled creature appeared. "Human entity," it said, voice full of contempt. "You are a relic of a dead race. Power down your vessel and surrender. The Council will decide your fate." Rain leaned forward slightly. "You destroyed my people, stole our worlds, and buried our history. And you dare speak of fate?" The alien sneered. "Humans brought this on themselves. You were chaos. You were death." Rain's voice hardened. "Then let me remind you what chaos really looks like." He cut the transmission. The AI announced, "Enemy weapons charging." Rain spoke one word. "Fire." The Nemesis moved like lightning. Its main cannon flared, unleashing a beam of pure red energy that sliced through space and vaporized 3 ships instantly. The shockwave tore through the formation, scattering the alien fleet. The AI's voice was calm, clinical. 17 targets destroyed. 23 remaining. Rain's eyes glowed faintly as his neural link deepened. The ship reacted to his thoughts, moving and striking with impossible precision. Missiles danced through the void, plasma shields shimmered, and the Nemesis turned the battlefield into a storm of light and destruction. The aliens fired everything they had, ion torpedoes, disruptor beams, nuclear charges, but nothing could pierce the living armor of the human warship. One by one, the enemy ships fell silent. The VOR-NAK captain screamed through the comms, "It's unstoppable. It's feeding on our energy." And he was right. The Nemesis absorbed power from every attack, growing stronger, faster, deadlier. The AI confirmed it. Energy reserves exceeding maximum capacity. The ship is evolving. Rain smiled faintly. That's what they feared most, our ability to adapt. Within minutes, the fleet was gone. Only drifting wrecks and fire remained. The AI spoke again. "All hostiles eliminated. The Council will respond with greater force." Rain nodded. "Let them. The more they send, the faster they'll fall." He stood at the viewport, watching the remains of the fleet burn like dying stars. For a brief moment, the silence felt heavy again. The AI broke it softly. "Commander, you could have spared them." Rain's expression didn't change. "Mercy is for those who remember kindness. The galaxy showed us none." He walked to the command seat and sat down slowly. "Plot course for Earth." The AI hesitated. "Commander, what do you plan to do when we arrive?" Rain stared at the star map glowing before him. "Earth was humanity's heart," he said quietly. "If it still beats, I'll protect it. If it's dead, I'll turn its ashes into a weapon." His voice was low but filled with conviction. "Either way, the universe will remember humanity's name." The AI's voice softened. "You sound more machine than man." Rain looked out at the stars, his eyes distant. "Maybe that's what it takes to survive." Outside, the Nemesis entered hyperspace again, leaving trails of red light across the void. Behind it, the wreckage of 40 warships floated silently, a graveyard of arrogance. Across the galaxy, messages spread faster than light. "The human warship Nemesis has returned. Entire fleets destroyed. The ghost of humanity walks again." On distant worlds, governments panicked, soldiers prayed, and ancient records of the human wars were pulled from archives long forgotten. Everywhere, one name echoed through the stars: Rain, the last human. And as the Nemesis flew toward the dark heart of Earth's empty orbit, even the bravest hearts in the galaxy trembled. The Nemesis drifted through the dead silence of space, heading toward the blue marble that once burned with human life. Earth was dark now, its cities nothing but bones of steel and dust. Commander Rain stood before the viewing glass, his reflection pale and ghost-like against the black horizon. The AI's calm voice filled the air. "We have reached Earth's orbit, Commander. No life signs detected. The planet is silent." Rain's eyes softened for the first time since awakening. "Show me," he whispered. The ship projected an image of the planet, oceans dried into cracked plains, continents scarred with craters, the once golden lights of human civilization replaced by shadows. Rain's throat tightened. "We built wonders here," he said quietly. "And they turned it into a grave." The AI remained silent for a moment before responding. "Humanity's code still lingers, Commander. Not in flesh, but in the systems we built." Rain turned. "Explain." During the final days of the war, the engineers of Project Nemesis created the Blood Code, a sequence of genetic and machine data that could awaken our kind if extinction came. The code was written into the Nemesis itself. Rain frowned. "You're saying humanity's legacy is inside this ship?" "Yes," the AI said. "And inside you." The ship's lights flickered as if reacting to the truth. Rain touched the cold metal of the control panel. "Then activate it," he said. The AI hesitated. "Commander, the process requires a biological key, human blood, to unlock the code completely. It is dangerous." Rain smiled faintly. "Danger is all I have left." He removed one of his gloves, revealing veins faintly glowing with red light. Taking a small blade from the console, he sliced his palm. Drops of blood fell onto the ship's core panel. The reaction was instant. The Nemesis roared to life. Lights blazed through every corridor, engines ignited, and the ship's heart, the living core, began to pulse faster. The AI's voice deepened as the systems connected. Blood code recognized. Awakening full potential. Red energy spread through the floor, crawling up the walls like veins of light. Rain gasped as the ship's neural link fused deeper into his mind. Memories that weren't his flashed through him. Faces of scientists, soldiers, engineers, all human, all long dead. He saw their hope, their fear, and their final act of defiance. They had built the Nemesis not just as a weapon but as a seed, carrying humanity's DNA, consciousness and will. The ship spoke again, but its voice was different now. Less machine, more human. "Commander Rain. Welcome home." He fell to one knee, gripping the edge of the console. The connection was overwhelming. His heartbeat matched the rhythm of the ship's engines. What is happening to me?" he gasped. "Your blood completes the code. You and the Nemesis are one organism now. Your mind guides, your blood fuels, your soul commands." The realization struck him. He was no longer just human. He was the continuation of his entire race. Outside, the ship's armor began to shift, forming new shapes. The Nemesis grew stronger, expanding its living circuits and evolving before his eyes. The AI's tone became reverent. Human evolution, reinitiated. Rain stood, his wounds already closing, his eyes now glowing with a brighter, deeper red. "Show me the network status." "Complete," said the AI. "The blood code is awake. Systems are self-replicating. The ship can now create life, human life." His heart stopped for a moment. "You mean..." "Yes," the AI said. "Stored genetic data can rebuild human embryos. Humanity can rise again, if you will it." Rain turned toward Earth's shattered surface. "Then this world will not end in silence." But before he could speak further, alarms blared through the command deck. "Warning," the AI said sharply. "Massive fleet approaching. Over 200 ships. The Galactic Council has arrived." Rain's expression hardened. "They couldn't let us live. They fear rebirth," the AI replied. Rain stepped closer to the control core, his voice steady. "Prepare the Nemesis for battle. But this time, we fight for something greater than revenge." The AI responded, understood. Outside, the stars began to fill with enemy ships. The fleet surrounded Earth's orbit like a metallic storm. Rain's voice echoed across the battlefield through open comms. To those who can hear me, this is Commander Rain of the Human Dominion. You destroyed us once. But humanity has risen again. We remember your fire, and now you will remember ours. The alien commanders shouted in panic. He's transmitting a universal signal. Shut it down. But it was too late. The blood code inside the Nemesis was already spreading. Invisible waves of data rippled through space, infecting enemy ships, corrupting their systems, rewriting their AI cores. Across the battlefield, alien vessels lost control as the Nemesis's influence grew. Their engines flared, their weapons turned against their own fleets. Rain's voice remained calm. You wanted to erase us. But our blood was built to survive extinction. The Nemesis surged forward, tearing through enemy ships like a storm of vengeance. Energy blasts and plasma waves filled the void, but the ship absorbed them all, feeding on the power, growing even stronger. The AI's voice was proud now. Human dominance restored. The stars are listening. The last of the Council ships exploded, scattering debris across the heavens. In the silence that followed, Rain looked down at Earth again. We are home, he said softly. The AI replied. What now, Commander? Rain placed his blood-stained hand on the control core. Now, he whispered, we rebuild. And this time, we never fall. The Nemesis hovered over the dead planet, its red light shining like a heartbeat in the dark, a sign to the universe that humanity's extinction was nothing but the beginning. The Nemesis floated above Earth like a blood-red moon, its massive form pulsing with life and energy. The planet beneath was broken, lifeless, and silent. Yet within that silence, something was stirring, a pulse deep beneath the surface, faint but growing stronger. Commander Rain stood on the command deck, the glow from the ship's core reflecting in his crimson eyes. The AI's voice echoed softly around him. Commander, the blood code has stabilized. The process of regeneration can begin. Rain gazed down at the planet that had once been humanity's cradle. Then let it begin, he said quietly. The ship responded instantly. Streams of red light poured from its lower hull, descending like rivers of energy into the Earth's atmosphere. The light seeped into the dead soil, spreading across continents like veins of fire. The AI reported calmly, reconstruction protocols engaged. Genetic material dispersing. Terraforming systems active. Rain watched as the clouds began to shift, heavy with new oxygen forming in the upper layers. The planet was breathing again, after centuries of silence. They said we were gone forever, Rain murmured, but our blood remembers. The AI's tone softened. The human spirit cannot be erased. It only sleeps. Hours passed. Below, the dead oceans began to shimmer with new color, filling with microscopic life created from the ship's databanks. Mountains cracked open, releasing stored energy. Air currents shifted as the first winds returned. Earth was no longer dead, it was waking up. But Rain knew peace would not come easily. The galaxy would not ignore the rebirth of humanity. The Council had been destroyed, but others would come. The old alliances, the scavenger races, even the machines, they would all see this as a threat. Commander, the AI interrupted, multiple long-range signals detected. Unknown origin, not Council-coded. They are observing us. Rain turned slowly toward the star map. Let them watch, he said. Let them see what we've become. The AI hesitated. They will come for you. Rain's lips curved into a faint smile. They already have. He stepped closer to the viewport. The stars reflected in his eyes like tiny embers. We will not run. Not again. He clenched his fist. If they come for war, they'll find it waiting. Suddenly, the AI's voice changed, more urgent, more human. Commander, the blood code has triggered an anomaly. There's something alive inside the core. Rain frowned. Alive? Explain. A consciousness, Commander. It's not me. It's part of the code, human data merged with your blood. It's awakening. The ship's lights dimmed, and a figure began to form in the center of the bridge. Holographic, glowing red and white. It was a woman, her features familiar and warm, like a memory brought to life. Rain froze. Who are you? The hologram smiled softly. I'm Dr. Lyra Cade, Chief Geneticist, Project Nemesis. Or what's left of her. Rain's heart pounded. He remembered that name. She was one of the lead scientists who created the Nemesis. You're a recording? He asked. Not exactly, Lyra said gently. When we created the blood code, we preserved more than data. We preserved ourselves, our minds, our memories. Pieces of humanity woven into the ship's soul. When your blood awakened the code, you awakened us. Rain stared in silence as her form flickered with light. So I'm not the last human, he whispered. Lyra smiled faintly. You're the first of the new ones. The bridge between what was and what will be. The AI's voice returned, calm but reverent. The blood code now functions as a living network. Commander Rain can restore humanity, not just in body, but in mind and spirit. Rain looked down at his hand, the faint red light still pulsing beneath his skin. Then let's finish what we started. Lyra nodded. It won't be easy. The others out there, those who fear humanity, will come to destroy what you're building. You'll need to be ready. Rain turned toward the viewport again. I've been ready since the day they ended us. He watched as Earth's new sky shimmered faintly with color. But this time, we're not fighting for survival. We're fighting for our future. Lyra's voice softened. Then humanity truly lives again. Suddenly, the AI interrupted again. Commander, incoming fleet signatures, 3 massive carriers, escorted by over 100 ships. Identification, Zyrax Dominion. Rain's eyes darkened. Zyrax, he said. They were the first to attack Earth. Fitting that they'd be the first to return. The AI awaited orders. Engage or evade. Rain smiled coldly. Neither. We show them who we are. The Nemesis shifted, its armor glowing brighter than before. Its cannons extended, wings spreading wide like a creature of vengeance reborn. Lyra's image flickered beside him, watching in silence. They won't understand mercy, Rain said. So we'll teach them consequence. Outside, the Zyrax fleet opened fire. Beams of blue energy sliced through space, but before they could strike, the Nemesis vanished in a blur of light, then reappeared behind the enemy formation. Its weapons unleashed in a blinding storm. Ship after ship exploded in silence, swallowed by fire. The AI reported calmly, enemy fleet collapsing. Their flagship is attempting retreat. Rain's voice was ice. No survivors. The battle lasted minutes. When it ended, the Zyrax fleet was gone, nothing but drifting wreckage. Earth's orbit was once again silent, but now the silence carried power, not despair. Rain looked at Lyra's fading hologram. How many will it take before they understand? She smiled sadly. All of them, maybe. But humanity always learns by fire. Rain nodded. Then we'll be the flame. The Nemesis hovered above Earth, its red light shining like dawn breaking over the ashes. The AI spoke softly. Commander, the new human embryos are stable. Within weeks, they will awaken. Rain exhaled slowly. Then our story begins again. He turned toward the stars. Let them come. Let the whole galaxy watch. Humanity has returned. The Nemesis pulsed once, releasing a wave of crimson light that spread across space like a heartbeat. Worlds far away saw it and trembled, for they knew what it meant. The age of humans had not ended, it had just begun again.